All right, well, thanks for taking the time, man. I appreciate it. Where are you calling in from?
So I'm in Bellingham right now, and thank you for making the time and having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. This is Jesse Goodwin, everyone. He is the founder, the man behind Fourth Corner Punk Fest up in Bellingham, Washington. That's going to be happening this year on July 18 and 19. That's a Saturday and Sunday. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But what gave you the brass balls to start your own festival, for one? And what's the craziest thing you've done? And is it this fest, or is there something else?
Yeah. The brass balls is the nice way of putting stupidity or maybe hubris. The condensed version is basically I spent most of my teens up until my early 30s singing and touring in numerous failed punk bands. That ended, and I went for a long time just being a dad. I was in Southern California. I grew up here in Bellingham, moved to Southern California when I was 18. We had moved back here. Tiny little pandemic happened. I was locked in my house for 2 years, and I came out of it. And I just needed to get out of the house. So I started a 90s and 2000s punk rock cover band. I just thought it was going to be a bunch of, old heads in a studio. And it kind of I don't want to say blew up. It didn't but we were selling 200-300 tickets to basically do No Effects covers, MxPx covers, No Use for a Name, Strung Out. And, as someone who comes from the world of you gotta, you write your songs, you gotta get out there on the road and you gotta sell them. I felt like I was cheating. I still feel like it was cheating. And I was like, how can we kind of use this to bring light to real punk bands? And the idea was let's do a mini Warp Tour in Bellingham where we'll headline, we'll draw, people will know that they're going to hear the songs they want to hear, but we have some local punk bands open. That was small, 200-300 people. It was an outdoor thing. That was 4 years ago. It sold out, and I was like, man, maybe I can do this a little bit bigger. And the next year I went a little bit bigger, brought in a bunch of bands all the way from Portland. It was all P&W bands. And then that was 600-700 people. I was like, maybe I can do this for real. And I was like, but where? And this was last year. And we had played a show at Evil Bikes, which is a mountain bike manufacturer that's based in Bellingham. And they have this huge sort of warehouse campus. And we had played a show there, and I went to them. I'm like, hey, so I'm thinking about jumping this up 10 notches. Could we do it in your parking lot? And this was after 2 years of just hearing no from pretty much everybody, sponsors, the city. And they were just can I curse? I don't know if I could. Yeah.
Yeah. This podcast.
Yeah. They were like, fuck yeah. And so I took, basically what I did is I traded them title sponsorship for use of their campus. That's what I thought I was trading them for. Really what I ended up trading for was the use of their campus, the use of their staff, the use of neither of us knew what we were getting into. And this was last summer. And I basically just took my life savings and just started cold emailing booking agents. I knew a few from back in my day of touring, Strung Out's booking agent and Guttermouth's booking agent. But really it was just hey, I have this amount of money, this date, would you play? And, that's where we ended up with Face to Face, Strung Out, Guttermouth. And then we had 2 stages. It was one day. I had no idea what I was doing. I still have no idea what I'm doing.
Isn't that
sold out. Yeah. So that's the extended version.
So that was last year you talking about?
So that was last summer.
Nice.
And so that was one day. It was, the big bands were Face to Face, Strung Out, Teenage Bottlerocket, Guttermouth, Those were the headliners. Then we had a whole other stage of PNW local punk bands. It sold out. It was like, 2,000 people, it was modestly sized. I barely broke even, which I think is a win. And this
It is.
year, I was like, okay, I learned a lot. And one of the things I learned was I get why festivals are more than one day. Because a lot of your overhead doesn't change much when you have 2 days. So, yeah, that's where we're at this year. We went 2 days. We're going bigger. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I don't know. Does that answer the question? Like,
So this is the craziest thing you've done. I mean, what background do you have in you were saying you just were in bands and you were doing your own promoting of your own shows, which honestly, I mean, once you get into it, you just take that next step up, take that next step up. That's how life works, I think, in general. And somebody was just saying, a friend of mine, we were at brunch over the weekend, and we're just talking, we're all professionals in what we all do, and they were just saying, like, nobody knows. Even their boss didn't know really how to do things. They were just figuring it out as they went, and it's so true. You just have to kind of figure it out. So being a festival guy, like, wow, like that can be overwhelming, I'm sure, and it takes a community of people. You kind of have to like pull together people that are volunteering, people that are maybe getting paid if there's money at the end of the day. I don't know. I usually don't get into like business finances with people on the podcast, but long story short, I mean, I could vouch for you on this one. Costs are constantly rising. And so if you broke even last year, that's actually pretty good. So it
yeah,
usually takes a while to make money in almost any business, right? But man, it is rough. So what do you really like put a business plan together, or is it more I want to see this is my dream lineup. Okay, this band can't do it, this band can do it, and then you start finding like or similar bands. I mean, is that how it take me through your mind and maybe a little bit of your process for coming up with the festivals?
yeah. I mean, my background is not this. I've done events. I ran a charity up here for a while, and we would do like a charity concert every year. I thought that gave me the sort of skill set that I needed. Other than being in bands, I've always sort of been the kind of guy that was like, if I'm not going to get invited to the parties that I want to go to, then I'm going to just throw the parties that I want to go to. And I think if I'm being completely honest with myself, that was a big motivation behind this. I'm like, I want to build the festival that I want to go to. And a nice side product, side effect of that is that like I get to be on the side of the stage and like watch some of my favorite bands. Now I thought like, dude, I'm gonna be best friends with all these guys. That did not happen. I was like, can I get you some more batteries for your wireless?
Yeah,
um,
yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of time to kind of just hang. There's always somebody's always asking you for something, and I'm sure bands are always being asked to do something or thinking about what they're about to be doing. I guess I know that from experience, but
yeah.
thinking about what they're about to be doing. I mean, that is a real thing. You kind of like mentally prepare for the show a little bit, but keeping it your angle as a promoter, as a founder, as somebody that's you're running it on the ground as well, like as point man. Do you hire a production manager, a stage manager, that kind of thing?
So so last year, no. Last year I
What?
was the state
No to all?
I was the stage manager. I was running marketing. I ran the ticketing site. I built the website. The stage management part was daunting because all of these bands are fly-ins, they're all using backline. And to sort of coordinate that, with their tour managers, knowing what they need, everyone has a different need, working with a backline person. I had a day of stage manager, but like, you know, sort of everything up until that point was me. And I did not really consider what that workload was like. And I was doing all the marketing last year, which, talking about things you don't know, I was like, dude, I'm gonna just book face to face. I'll just put a poster on Instagram and then everyone's gonna buy a ticket to it and I'm done. That's not the hard part's over. I paid the money for
Wait,
face to face and Strung Out. And
that's not how it works?
no, yeah, crazy enough.
How does it
Uh,
work? I mean, how does it really work? I mean, what did you figure out from
I
last
mean,
year?
I feel like, yeah, I mean,
I
you
mean,
guys,
condense
you
it.
know, probably better than most because your guys' social media is on point. But I was up. I have a full time job. I have two kids, and then I would work my full time job. Um, be a dad, which was mostly just going to soccer games, and then be up until like 2 in the morning several nights a week cutting videos and trying to come up with new concepts for how to sell it and how to learn paid promo and all that stuff. And that was a lot too. That was stressful. It felt very much like last year that I was swimming upstream the entire way from announcement to the day of. Like, just, there's a lot of things that it's like, this is Bellingham. I feel like even people in Seattle and Tacoma are like, Bellingham, like, and so it's not only sort of building awareness, it's building awareness of the town.
Mhm.
It's getting people in the town to be like, a punk rock festival. What's that mean?
And Bellingham's traditionally, for those that don't know, it's North Washington, right almost to the border of Vancouver, BC, Canada, and it's hippie town. Really, it's like it's Western Washington University. I know this because I've been there many times, and my sister actually went to college there, my older sister, and you know. I'm sure you guys probably had a local punk scene, but it just wasn't known for it for sure. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think that
at
was,
least from the outside looking in,
yeah, I think
like people
that
from Seattle and beyond.
that was a kind of one of my big motivating factors was when I was growing up, there is a decent underground music scene in Bellingham. There's not a great all ages venue scene in Bellingham. But when I was growing up, we would get those mid-tier bands coming to play here. We would get Lagwagon and Less Than Jake, and they would play at the college. And it kind of seems like that's evaporated. And I think that's has to do a lot with the logistics of touring. Like, as you were saying, it's expensive to tour. It's expensive to be in a band. And um, Bellingham is right in between Seattle and Vancouver. So you would think like this is a perfect Thursday night spot to stop. But there's exclusivity radiuses and all of that you kind of have to deal with. And yeah, I remember a vibrant punk scene. There is a real vibrant music scene in Bellingham. And there are some great punk bands, but I do feel like we're kind of overlooked, especially in that genre. And that was
Mhm.
kind of my motivation to be like, why do I have to keep driving to Vancouver and Seattle to see some of these bands? Like we're talking like the 500 to 1,000
Yeah, because
cap
they have the
space.
venue. They have the venue that
Right,
exists. Yeah.
right, and like and I feel like what I'm told is that for bands, 21 and under buy merch and 21 and up buy alcohol.
Hmm.
And so the venues like 21 and up. And maybe that's why we don't have a lot of like bigger all ages venues here.
Yeah.
But
I mean, logistically, let me ask you this: like, would a band fly into Vancouver, BC, cross the border to get to Bellingham, or is it better to just go to Seattle, drive up 2 hours, or maybe it's a little less than 2 hours, but I think
yeah,
it's
we're
probably two
about like
hours.
80 minutes from SeaTac if there's no traffic.
Hmm.
It's almost equidistant. And so really it kind of depends on the border. Like personally, I fly out of both for travel,
You do,
Vancouver.
yeah.
Yeah.
Probably for
But
a
that was
band in the U.S., like, let's not deal with the border.
I think so. The
Yeah.
bouncing, like I know that the Bouncing Souls this year are coming from Kelowna, and I'm just
Oh,
like
really? Okay.
Bouncing Souls and the Suicide Machines, and I'm a little nervous. I'm like,
Oh,
they
they're
got to
just
get here.
driving. They're just driving then.
They're on tour, yeah. So
Yeah.
we're their last stop of the first leg of
Okay.
their tour.
Yeah, all the band like let's go ahead and get to the lineup because just about every band on your lineup are either I'm like buddies with or we've played with. I guess that's kind of the same, but there's a few at the bottom that I haven't necessarily met yet or whatever. But everybody else we've played with many years ago, if it's like Warped Tour or like with Pennywise, it's constant, man. It's really cool to see, all your friends playing a show together. So
Well,
lineup.
first of all, like it was not for lack of trying that you guys are not on the bill this year. Like,
Oh yeah, I know.
yeah,
We
yeah,
already kind of had our own plans to do some stuff and
yeah. You got Warped going on, and uh, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I just saw you guys with the Suicide Machines in at the Commodore.
oh, right on. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Did
it was.
you did you come say what's up or did you see anybody? Did you see me?
No, I was in and out.
You were just seeing it.
I
Okay.
mean, I was up front though. I was right next to Tom, like looking up.
Excellent.
The other Tom did hook me up though.
All right, cool. Good. Well, Bouncing Souls, we just saw them, I think, last year in Seattle. Great show. Good guys, friends of ours. That'll be fun. Of course, Suicide Machines that you just mentioned, you just saw them with us. Good Riddance, we go way back. We played with them with the Vandals, like in California so many years ago. And just ever since then, anytime we see them, it's like always fun.
Yeah.
Authority Zero, we just played with them in Phoenix, Arizona for our punk rock Christmas show. You know all this. I'm just telling people, like literally, it's like it's one, yeah. Anyway, let me continue.
Yeah.
I don't want to get off. Bite Me Bambi. I don't actually know them, like I was mentioning, but a lot of friends know them. The Dancehall Crashers. A bunch of them, some of their management always hit me up about them. So like I've definitely had my ear to the ground. I just haven't ran into them really. Dollheads, tell me about them. Who are they?
So they're a new band on Fat. And I believe that they are all siblings. They're young. I don't think the oldest one I don't think is over 2021. Dollheads, I'm sorry if I'm underaging you.
So
But
are they on like a package kind of with the Souls or somebody, or they just happen to be
I
coming
kind of
up?
just reached out. I
Oh,
just reached out like I saw some of their videos. Like they rip. Like it's sort
what do they
of
sound like?
it is a female singer. Um and it's more skate punky than kind of pop punky. It's fast and it's got some grit to the vocals. There's so much. I mean, I've never seen them live. They're probably one of the more like excited out of the bands that I haven't seen live to see on this because like their live footage that I've seen, like I think they just did a couple shows with Bad Cop, and they just look fun and like they got that like youthful energy to them and kind of edge. It's melodic, but it's not like saccharine melodic. So
Cool.
they seem a lot, yeah, like a
Right
lot of
on.
fun.
Well, show up early on Saturday then if you want to see the Dollheads. Skate
Yeah.
punk's always fun for me. Sunday we got Pennywise. Just saw. I mean, we hang out with them all the time. Obviously, Fletcher. Look out for Fletcher if you're out there.
Dude, I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
Yeah, titty twisters, all that.
Yeah.
Always fun though. I was just listening to Unknown Road because it's like that was that and their first record are like the records that I knew, growing up. Washing dishes at Spiro's in Silverdale, Washington was one of my first jobs. Not my first job, but one of my first jobs. So yeah, they always, it's always weird because we're friends, but I always have that sort of like actual fan background with them too. The Vandals, kind of the same thing. We met them early on and toured with them really early on with the Ataris, us, and the Vandals, and like I was mentioning, we ran into Good Riddance at some point, but we just had them on the show for Punk Rock Christmas in Arizona, and they've been, they kind of weren't playing for a long time, or maybe they were and I just hadn't paid attention, but it seems like the last couple of years they've been on fire, just touring a lot. and
Yeah.
and they put on just a fun show. It's fun to see live. So yeah, it goes way back. Bad Cop. My sisters, they were just in Bremerton last year. I got to see them play. Their new album is really good. It rips. It's really cool.
Really good.
It's got a nice mix of like fast and hard stuff with I don't know, like it's like this like I don't know, reggae punk thing. I don't know. It's cool. It's got a good vibe, I think.
Yeah.
I dig it. I dig what they do. They've gotten really so much better too live as a band. They've really stepped up their just playing ability and their singing and even their songs. So kudos to them. Great to have them on that show, I'm sure. Diesel Boy, kind of local here. They become local heroes. I don't know if they were always from
I think they were originally from NorCal, but Dave is now a Seattle.
Yeah, and Dave is sort of he's a local punk fixture now, and it's very cool. And that's a good thing, I think, Dave. We love you, Dave. So make sure you guys check out Diesel Boy. We had them on a show in Seattle at the Showbox, like 4 years ago, something like that. I think it was our first show back from after the 2022 or something like that.
Yeah,
somewhere in there.
I love Diesel Boy, so I'm so excited that they're playing. Like
absolutely fun times. I like that they've continued to do stuff. War on Women. I've heard about them a lot. I've never seen them live. Where are they from? Do you know?
I don't know. Somewhere on the East Coast. I don't know because they're flying in, but
the East Coast is so far. I mean, can you really keep up with the East Coast? I mean,
yeah. Dude, they rip. That's all I gotta like. Go listen to them. It's angry and I think they just released a new video like 2 or 3 days ago.
It's angry.
So it's angry, but it
punk
is
rock.
Like, it's punk. Oh, good. It's so good. It's so. And I know. I don't know the proper way to build a bill. So I just went from the top down. Like I was like, I just got to get the headliners, and then I'll know how much money I have. And so, when it came to sort of I should say like we have a second stage that it's all Pacific Northwest bands. So what you're listening to it's just the main stage.
Okay.
But
right on.
When I reached out about them and they said yes. So it seems like our social media is like there's a lot of people who are really excited about War on Women. And yeah, I can't say enough.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
Piñata Protest. I don't know anything about them either. I know they're probably in the punk genre. Let me guess.
Yeah. They're a SoCal band, I believe, and they're on tour. So this is one of the stops on their tour. They are a mostly Spanish language ska style, like ska punk.
Okay, yeah, that rings a bell. Yeah. That's cool. They probably play some like intense punk ska stuff. Yeah. Cool.
It's a lot of fun. Like I think so. We have on the main stage the first day Dollheads are opening up, and on the main stage the second day Piñata Protest is opening up, and I just I'm really happy about those openers because sort of like everything I'm trying to build around the festival is like I want it to be inclusive and fun. Like I think these two bands sort of encapsulate that. Like they're just fun and fast and
Yeah, and Bellingham is a pretty chill place. Like there's no like people like trying to kick you out, right? If you're you're just on your way through. I've never experienced that in Northern Washington where people are like rednecks or whatever.
No, I don't think so. Especially at this festival, Bellingham is a pretty progressive city.
Yeah.
The best, I don't know. People probably see this, but I was like, I'm like, it's like a mini Portland.
A mini Portland. Okay. Yeah. Hopefully without the violence. We'll keep it clean. I mean, except for Fletcher. Fletcher might bring some violence to the scene. Yeah. Oh man. So when does it? You think? Does the festival end? Does it happen all during the day? Is it into the nighttime?
We are so we'll probably kick doors off around 12:30. And the music, I believe we're gonna try to be done around 9:30. So it's mostly daytime because as you know, in Washington, it does not get dark till like midnight during the summer. So
Yeah.
we're going to be doing mostly during the day and hopefully kind of have some fun things around town as like after parties for the 21 and up crowd. So,
Sounds
yeah.
good. So, I mean, how you feeling this year? Are you doing, you
Uh,
working 20, as much as you can like you did last year on editing videos? Like what's different this year?
this year, well, I'll tell you what's not different is I thought, oh, okay, I'm going to sell out this. I sold out this festival and I thought, okay, I'm gonna be beating sponsors away with a stick. I'm gonna have to tell them, no, I don't want your money. That did not happen. That didn't. No one is throwing money at me. So we are the few sponsors we do have are on trade. Um, a couple like trading
Yeah.
me fences and our alcohol sponsor or beer sponsor is giving us a discount on beer and stuff like that. But it's mostly just all coming from ticket sales, or hopefully all coming from
Yeah.
ticket sales.
Of course.
I feel better this year. It was a huge swelling when we announced the lineup. Um, like the online organic kind of burst or whatever felt much more like I was rolling downhill instead of uphill as I was last year. And I feel like a few punk rock publications picked it up without us reaching out. And it does just seems like maybe I've legitimized it a little bit more to people who are like, I've never heard of this festival before. I don't know where Bellingham is. And it seems like maybe we're fighting a little bit against some less headwind that way, if that makes sense. I
Yeah.
do have more help this year. I have help cutting those online spots and um,
Good.
and I can't say enough about like the guys at Evil Bikes, like Joe, who's the head of events there. Like he's in charge of staffing and like, helping with permitting and all that stuff. So it's
Yeah.
not just me as much this year, but it's a small operation, which is nice. I don't have any experience any other way. Like I don't know what I don't know, but I'm really, really trying to keep the tickets as low as I possibly can without kind of going into the red.
Hmm.
Um, because it's like some festival tickets are really expensive. And we're also still gonna cap the amount of people we let in. That's just because like
What's the cap?
we're probably going to be around 3,000 is,
Okay.
if I hit 3,000, I'll be
That's
happy, but I think I'll stop it around there.
yeah.
I don't want to build something where people are paying, you know, 60, $70 a day and they have to watch a band from behind like 7,000, 10,000 people. Like it's just not the type of festival that I want to go to.
Hmm.
So,
That's cool.
that's
Actually,
important. It's important to me that like
you're not going to get ten
it,
thousand anyway. But I
no,
mean,
no,
just in the area, I guess it's. I'm not saying you. I say
no,
anybody wouldn't get 10,000.
no, no,
But 3,000 is possible. Yeah, that's a great number, and I mean, I haven't seen your site or anything, but having the right site, everybody will have fun, and I think the fact that you care about that is good because
yeah,
not everybody does, especially like the real corporate type festivals. There's all these like DJ EDM festivals, and it's just like it's a business like any other, and these big companies. I mean, you know all about it, but yeah, stay like this as long as you can, as long as you're happy. Because I mean, it's always like the good old days, but that's now, right now.
yeah, yeah.
As long as we
It is
keep
now. These
making
are
it
the
that
good old
way.
days. Yeah, I
Trying.
mean, yeah, like being able to like walk around and like a big part of this is like I want people to feel comfortable bringing their family. I feel like the message and the ethos behind punk rock is really why I'm doing it. Like, or really why I feel like punk rock is now more important than ever. Like the messaging behind it and the feeling behind it. And I want it to feel like, I have two young kids and I would want to be able to bring them to this. Like, I don't care if they hear some bad words, but I don't want them to feel unsafe.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so that's important to me. Like if it's fun
Yeah.
and
Yeah, it's not cool to feel unsafe. It used to be back in the, people are back in the 80s when punk rock was dangerous, even the 90s. And it's like, yeah, I guess it's like, I get people that say that, but I mean, people actually got hurt, and there was like,
yeah,
I just remember when I was going to like local shows and the skinheads would show up. This one time, I have a story. I won't go into it, but it was just like I was legitimately scared. I was like trying to stay out of the fists and the weapons and everything that was going on. So yeah, that was kind of exciting. But I'll take what we have at Fourth Corner Festival. Like I don't want to bring my kids to some craziness like that either.
yeah. If you want to be in the pit, be in the pit, But
Absolutely, be in the
like if
pit.
you want your kid on top of your shoulders, being able to watch like some of the bands you grew up with or new ones that are following in those bands' footsteps, then like you should be able to do that. I feel
Yeah.
um,
I just think the world's changed so much since I got into punk, and and with that in mind, having a place like this, I think is definitely important that you actually pay attention to that side of things, like having a place where families can feel like they're having a great time, still experiencing punk. I mean, Pennywise, dude, it's not a safe pit to be in. It's going to be rowdy in there, but I think most of their crowds they're just people. They're just,
yeah.
just like us. So,
You want people to feel uncomfortable with sort of like the messaging behind it. Like I want my kids to be exposed to sort of that, like so much of how I see the world is from punk. Like,
yeah,
from like Fat Mike's lyrics and, your guys' lyrics and how I view how to treat other people comes from punk rock. So it's like I want to be challenged in sort of like their worldview, but I also don't, want to feel like I'm going to get stabbed, I guess.
well said. Is there
Yeah.
anything we're missing? Anything you need people to know?
We do have, 10 or so tattoo artists on site every day doing flash. Um, and that's sort of like a first come first serve, so like you said, get there early for the bands, but also get there early to sign up for your flash. They're all local artists, and it always, like, even when it was on the small scale, these tattoo artists, like, basically, like, their schedule is booked within like the first for the few hours of the day for the rest of the festival. Let's see, we got a second stage. Anyone who was there last year, they know that the local stage was um let's see, less than glamorous. It was mostly like a boxes and like a crappy PA system. We went a lot bigger this year to sort of give those bands more of a spotlight. So we have 12 bands per day on two different stages and there's no overlapping sets, and we have like a lot of really good Pacific Northwest bands. Some are like old heads that have been around the scene forever, and some of them really young, coming from Portland and Seattle and Tacoma. Um,
Right on.
yeah, I
That's
mean,
great.
tickets are going.
What's the website?
Fourth spelled out FOURTH, fourthcornerpunkfest.com.
Go there, get the link there for tickets. That's the safest place. It's so hard these days with Ticketmaster. I know we're wrapping up, but I was gonna say this. You probably know all about it, like Ticketmaster, and then the reselling. And if there's like a little spike in sales, then bots start buying tickets, and you're like, you want real people to be buying tickets, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's another problem is you don't want like sometimes this probably has nothing to do with but some bands will like sell out a show real quick and then realize, oh, half of it was just scalpers, and so it's not really sold out yet. It's just kind of sold out. I guess you get your money, but the crowd's not going to be there
Yeah.
until that crowd also gets scalped. And there's a lot of, I don't want to get into the ethos of ticketing and the rights and wrongs, because we could be here a while.
Yeah.
But
That's another thing I had to learn
we'll
about.
we'll save that for another day. People,
We,
their
These
eyes
are very
glaze
low.
over.
We were using like an indie ticket broker, so fees are low, but
Excellent.
yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's going well. I have not worried about scalpers, but now I am. So thank you.
Oh, sorry. No, you'll be all right. As long as you're like selling steady and not, it's always good to have a big spike at the beginning, right? And then that
Yeah.
kind of like sets your pace for the rest and it's always like a long tail down or whatever. And then there's usually a spike at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no, it's going well. And, knowing me, I'm going to be freaking out about it until the last possible moment. That's just, it is, it's like, hopefully people come or one of my kids doesn't want to go to college. One of the two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Well, I think people are going to
College
come.
funds on the line.
I think people are going to come, man. I mean, you have
It's been,
you have a great lineup. It's cool. Everybody's great. People are going to have fun. Tattoo, it's like the whole culture, we need more of that. And I think that's the thing is like some people view this kind of stuff as competition, but it's like, no, we need more punk events, more music, live music events, more bands that are good playing up in the Pacific Northwest, because we just don't get enough of these bands touring through here. So it's great that the Suicide Machines were just with MxPx, but then you get to see another set. Maybe you missed that show. It was sold out for quite a while in Seattle is what I'm talking about. But
yeah,
things like that is like the more we can get the Bouncing Souls to come to the West Coast, the better, I think. So I like what you're doing, man. Congratulations, and I hope that it goes well. Jesse Goodwin, everyone. Fourth Corner Punk Fest.
Yeah. Let me just say, you can cut this out if you want, and I said this to Tom, your booking agent, too, and is that Fourth Corner Punk Fest would not exist without MxPx, because I was a kid who moved to the Pacific Northwest and I saw one of your videos on MTV. I did not know what punk rock was, and I fell in love with it. I bought all your CDs and then bought all of the bands that you thanked on the on the liner notes, and that was it for me. I was punk rock from that point on. And so hopefully one day you can be part of Fourth Corner Punk Fest, but there still would not be one if it wasn't for MxPx. So I just want to say thank you, and to you and to the rest of the guys.
Means a lot. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, Jesse.
All right, thank you so much for giving me the time.
Of course. All right, peace.
This is